What's up, guys? DC Lab here. You can call me DC for short. I don't really care. So I've been wanting to make these series of videos for a while now. I've been a member of the University of Kali Linux for a little while, and I noticed a lot of same questions get asked quite frequently, so I thought it would be fun to just start out real basic, starting out with how to download and install Kali Linux, and get you up and running on your host machine. We're going to be focusing primarily on this video on the Raspberry Pi. So it's essentially still a bare metal install, but if you're using something like a actual desktop, it'll be a little bit different for you, but it's relatively the same process. The biggest part you're going to notice your difference is when you boot up into a desktop version of Kali Linux. You're going to have to pick things like your time zone settings, your keyboard layout. So you can get a little bit more technical in defining your storage. If you wanted to, you can set your static IP from there if you want to. But none of that's really necessary. You can pretty much take the defaults, and this process will be pretty much the same thing as the Raspberry Pi. We will be covering that in another video, though. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe and follow if you like this kind of content. We do plan to do more of these in the future. A little bit about me, I guess. I've been in IT for about 15 years. I'm not an expert when it comes to cybersecurity, proficient at best. But yeah, let's jump into it. Let's have some fun, and let's get up and running on Kali Linux. So first thing we're going to do, obviously, is going to be to download Kali Linux. Let me make sure I got my frames right here. Okay, so I'm already here at the website. Let me show you a few things that you want to take note of, okay? I'm going to be using the 64-bit version of this since I have the Raspberry Pi 8 GB, and I want to take advantage of that memory. There's a lot of videos out there like this, but what they don't talk about is verifying the MD5 sum. Now, that's incredibly important. Why is that important? It's important because let's say Kali.org got compromised and someone replaced these ISOs with a custom rolled ISO. And now, I know this is a long shot, but let's just bear with me here. Let's say they repacked that ISO with a Trojan or a backdoor in there. Now you've downloaded it, and now you're potentially compromised. Now, you probably won't see that on Kali.org, but I have seen people downloading Kali from other websites that are not reputable, at least from a security standpoint perspective. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to make sure that you're getting what you're supposed to be getting. That's very important. Even if you go to Kali Linux documentation, they tell you to do this. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. I've already got it downloaded here, so we're going to skip the download part. So I've already got my little cheat sheet opened here. So what you do here, you're going to do get file hash, and then you're going to put the file name. Now, the file name, in my case, is .image.zx. That is a compressed image file. If you're using Raspberry Pi and you're using something like Raspberry Pi Manager, that's fine. You know, you choose your OS, you go down here to Custom OS, and you'd find your ISO wherever that may be in here. Okay, here it is. I'm looking at the date modified, so there's my most recent one. Okay, now we're not there yet, so I'm going to back up just a hair. So you can burn that as is. Before I get ahead of myself, let's go ahead and verify this MD5 sum. All right, so we downloaded this one here, the 64-bit version, and if we click the sum, we get this long string of numbers and letters here, this hex sum. So if we open up PowerShell, we do a get file hash, and we point it to the file we just downloaded, and we hit enter. It should return the exact same string as what we see over here. So I like to look at the first few, 58EA, okay, that matches. Now let's look at the last few, FCE8, that matches. Okay, so that's great. So now we know we have an authentic ISO of Kali Linux. We're safe. We're good to burn that to an SD card, hard drive, CD, USB, whatever. But it's highly important that you verify that MD5 hash, because the last thing you want is a hacking OS with a bunch of tools to exploit several different services. You know, it's basically a God box, you know? So you wouldn't want someone to give you an ISO that's already been compromised, and now you load that up on your network, and they've got every tool they need to hack your own network, right? So it's really important you verify that MD5 hash. Okay, so next step would be to, obviously, if you're using Raspberry Pi, the Pi Imager is a great tool to use. Very, very straightforward. If you're dealing with a plain ISO or you're writing to a USB, you'll want to use something like Rufus. It's a really handy tool. It's got a portable version. Obviously, you'd select your USB drive, you'd select your ISO image, and it's going to come up and recommend that you write in DD mode. You're going to want to do that. And if it asks you to update any dependencies to be able to write in DD mode, go ahead and install those because you're going to need those too. And then let that run, and you'll be good to plug that into your host machine. Now, I've already done that over here, so I'm not going to do it again. But if you are using Pi Imager, let's just for educational purposes here, advanced options. Don't mess with any of this stuff, especially when it's Kali. Like if it was Raspbian, all day, go ahead. But since we're dealing with a custom ISO in this case, leave those advanced settings alone. Don't try to fancy it up. Just write it to the USB. All right, so I've already got that here. I am going to pop that into my Raspberry Pi, and we're halfway done already, guys. We'll pop this in. I want to come over here. I want to power the Raspberry Pi on. And if all went well, we should have a functional version of Kali Linux on our Raspberry Pi Model 4. This is normal. This is a good sign. And there we go. Go ahead and let that run. Usually if you see failed on some of these things, it's not a big deal. Just let it go. Let it do its thing. And then we'll deal with any issues that come up after we get into the OS. Now, obviously, this is not a scripted video. We are doing this on the fly. So anything that comes up, we will troubleshoot live with you guys. So we'll see what happens. We shouldn't run into any issues, though. And if you guys would like to see more of these videos, make sure you follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. I plan on to get more technical from here. We might do a actual desktop install from a USB ISO because I know there are a little bit of different steps there. Then maybe we'll get into top 10 things to do after you install Kali Linux, such as hardening it, securing it, SSH via certificate instead of password. I don't know. You guys let me know if you like this kind of video, what you'd like to see. If you have any questions, any technical instructionals you'd like to see. Yeah, we should be able to have some fun with this. There's a lot of good stuff in Kali you can play with. All right, so what are we running in here that's taking a little bit longer than it should? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Sometimes the network manager, if you don't have a network connection, it'll get hung up there. And that's especially true if you're using Wi-Fi, because 9 times out of 10, if you haven't gotten inside the OS yet, you probably haven't connected to the Wi-Fi. It'll still boot. It just takes a minute. All right, so default username and password is Kali Kali. And there we go. So we are inside the OS. Let's see. A few things you might want to check when you first get inside of here. You gotta make sure your time's set right. Because a lot of the things you're going to be dealing with are going to be log-based. Your logs are time-based. So you want to make sure your system time is accurate. That way you get those accurate timestamps that you're going to be needing. It's actually been a while since I've had a fresh install. There we go. Time and date settings. Yeah, so like I was saying, setting the time is going to be critical. So the way we do that, we come up here, we go to properties, and I've already done so, but you're going to want to type your time zone, depending on what that is for you. We're on daylight savings time, so I'm EST 5. And then hit close, and that should update your time in your respective time zone. So that's pretty much going to do it for this video. We will be doing some more technical instructional videos in the future. I think the next one we will do this on a more desktop style PC instead of the Raspberry Pi, just so you guys can see the whole process. Then from there, we'll do things such as OS hardening, configure an SSH. Maybe we'll get into some of the Android Termux SSH stuff. But yeah, you guys let me know what you guys want to see below, and hopefully this gets some traction. I hope you guys like it, and we'll catch you guys in another one. Thanks for watching. Peace.